What's the problem?
Oh, for the airport. Okay.
Any chicken this? Yeah.
Okay, for sure. I'll just figure it out. No, thank you. Yeah, I'll call back. Thank you.
What's the problem?
It says here you are on the watch list.
I'm on a watch list. I'm on a government watch list. That's what you're telling me. The person who just ran for mayor of Toronto is on a government watch list.
Good evening, everybody. And this is the Front Line with Joe and Joe. And Justin Castro is the dictator of Canada. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Joe Rosenell with the Front Line with Joe and Joe. Once again, let us go into the breach. The police show up at a Canadian citizen's house for being critical of Justin Trudeau online. Play the clip.
So we had received information about a post online in which you are making statements about Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Things about like being hung for treason, drawn and quartering, and that sort of thing. So I'm just here to talk to you about that.
So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I wanted to let you know that you're getting dangerously close to making criminal threats with these kinds of posts. And if you post that kind of stuff online...
I think all of my claims were that I would seek a lawful remedy.
Yes.
Okay.
I understand that.
So unless it's reasonable to seek a lawful remedy, then I don't see it as a threat. I'm seeking a lawful remedy for what I view as a criminal conspiracy with the Communist Party of China. Okay?
I understand.
There's some serious things going on. Okay? I'm of sound mind. I'm a 10th generation pre-Confederation person of the land.
Yep.
Okay, I'm concerned about the well-being of my citizens. And I believe that we've got some problems and they need to be investigated.
All I have to say is this. Big Brother is watching, Canada. They mean business. It's only going to get more ramped up, and sadly, it's going to get worse. Olivia Chow walks the streets of Toronto waving to the constituents. Play the clip. 2 years from now, the streets will be littered with dog poop. Actually, it'll probably be human poop. Dougie Ford enjoys himself at a Vanilla Ice concert. Play the clip. For a big guy, Dougie can move. He's doing some serious crowd surfing. Impressive. There is an unconfirmed report that a large African rhino has joined the ongoing riots in France. Yes, a rhino. Play the clip. Supposedly, the animal was released from the Paris Zoo by angry rioters. I got to be honest. You get an A for that one. That is style, everything. A. Love it. It's not a riot till the rhinos run the streets. The streets of Paris are a zoo. Quite literally, the rioters have released the zoo animals. I kid you not. Play the clip.
Voilà, je suis au Kenya. Voilà, je suis au Kenya, les gars. Tête de homme, un zèbre. Au bout, il y a une girafe. Wesh.
T'es pas ma gueule, c'est quoi ce truc? Eh bon, le checker là, la tête. C'est moi le dernier qu'on met les gros là. Voilà, se balade dans le quartier. C'est moi. Eh, on vite, hein. Sur la tête d'homme, t'es moi, il y a des lions qui tombent. Oh, là, il y en a des fonds. Mais flash. Bah, rien.
Nothing says a riot like a zebra running down the streets of Paris. The carbon grift continues. Play the clip.
Hi everyone, just coming out of Canada 2020 conference and just announced a new tool that the federal government is going to use in the fight against climate change, which is something that's called a social cost on carbon. Basically, we've worked with scientists, economists to calculate how much it costs to every Canadian every time we put a ton of CO2 in the atmosphere, of carbon pollution. It used to be, the evaluation used to be that cost was $54 just a few years ago. And now, based on new science, based on new data, we've evaluated that this cost is $247 every time a ton of CO2 goes into the atmosphere. We emit millions of tons, hundreds of millions of tons of CO2. So you imagine what the cost is to Canadian, and that enables us to put forward measures to fight climate change that are more cost effective and that are helping Canadians all across this beautiful country in the fight against climate change.
They're going to use climate alarmism as far as it can take them, and it's going to take them very far. They're going to beat you over the head with this type of rhetoric, push their legislation down your throat, and put you all in the poorhouse. Except for them, by the way. They won't be in the poorhouse, but you will. An honest exchange, something you don't see very often in the press. Play the clip.
According to Islamic law, Islam doesn't endorse gayism. Islam doesn't endorse homosexuality. Just like Canada doesn't endorse a lot of things.
And do you think that's good?
If I were to...
Do you think that's good, sir? Do you think it's good for gays?
Canada, I would get executed, right? I would get prosecuted. In the same way, Islam doesn't approve of being gay.
I see. Okay, so would you like to see Sharia law in Canada replace Canadian law?
At some point it will. You know, because we have families, we are making babies. You're not. Your population is going down the slump, right? Yeah. And by 2060, according to Pew Research Institute, your research, by 2060, Muslims will be the biggest religious group the world over. What are you going to do then? Actually, are you going to oppose Sharia even then?
Well, you know what? I'm very appreciative of the honesty. We don't usually get that. So you do support Sharia. You do want a Muslim majority nation in the West End, correct?
Just like you had a Western majority nation in the land of Native Americans, one day we can have a Muslim majority nation here in Canada. Right in your face.
I see. So,
if only Catholics would be so honest and basically say what this gentleman just said. A man or a woman who lives an active homosexual life is a sin. It's been taught for millennia. If only the Catholics were so honest. I'm going to leave it there. Why is it the United States and not the Canada? Inquiring minds want to know. Play the clip.
Okay, listen, I have a question for you. And before you say Google it, Joanna, I tried to Google it and it made no sense. It had like 17 points. Here's my question. Why is it the United States and not the Canada? Just Canada. It's the United Kingdom, but just India. It's the West Indies, but just Russia. It all started because I was trying to explain to somebody it's not the Ukraine, it's Ukraine. So I thought it was...
I think that it's just...
When did you get here?
I think it's just, like, they just didn't take the time to pick out a name for them, like a team name.
The team name? Yeah. The United States is their team name. Well, they're pretty excited about their team name.
They're just states that happen to be in America and they united. But if they had picked a name, then it would just be, you know, the name.
Is that the answer? Is that the answer? Somebody please tell me, is that the answer?
Deep thoughts. This woman, if you ask me, is tripping. And when you trip, you ask crazy questions like the United States, the Canada. You also drink a lot of beers, you jam the Allman Brothers, and sometimes you run the street without your clothes on. Hopefully, she doesn't do that. But she might. The baby boss says he's going to axe the tax. Play the clip.
Trudeau's carbon tax hits you just in time for Canada Day. Then he wants to raise it to 61 cents a litre. Enough. I'm common sense conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. I'll axe the tax to bring home lower prices.
Canada needs to turn off the mainstream media, stop listening to the rhetoric of Justin Trudeau, tune out St. Greta of the perpetual car battery. By the way, Greta will soon be canonized. It's taking place in Davos. Klaus Schwab and Al Gore will be presiding over the canonization. The tickets are $60,000 apiece. The New Brunswick Public Safety Minister weighs in. Play the clip.
Daughter in grade 2 can change her name and her gender, not just without my consent, but most importantly, without me even knowing it, to the point that the school would literally deceive me as a parent should I ask to know what's going on. I have a serious problem with that. And I can tell you one thing. The vast majority of parents in this province have a very serious problem with that as well. And I will not back down.
So, a girl in the 2nd grade could change her gender and her name without her parents' consent. What crazy person came up with that idea? Seriously, that is a crazy person that came up with that idea. I have young kids. Kids wear masks. Kids run around with ninja outfits with swords. Kids are not equipped to make a decision, a lifelong decision in the 2nd grade. Most adults aren't equipped to make lifelong decisions. And you're going to empower a 2nd grader. Some crazy person came up with that idea. And they are, in fact, crazy.
So I was walking down the beautiful streets of Calgary. That's where I am at the moment. And I saw a lady like staring at me. So I just assumed she knew who I was. So I smiled back. I said, "Hi, how are you?" Like, I figured she knew me. And she just started giggling. I go, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I'm sorry. I don't know who you are, but you're just so hot." And I took the compliment. I said, "Thank you." She smiled and she kept walking and we both had a nice day. What's the moral of this story? How come if the roles were reversed and a guy happens to see a woman that he finds attractive and he looks at her long enough for her to notice and then says, "Hey, you look really hot today." The exact same words the lady said to me, only all of a sudden you become toxic, a misogynist, possibly even sexually assaulting the woman, according to some radical feminists. But why? Has anyone ever asked why it's like that? It couldn't possibly be to try to make men afraid of virtually everything, including approaching a woman, so they can easily be controlled, could it? Or do double standards really have a place in society? Comment below.
Trudeau channels his inner Canadian historic self. Holy 1980s haircut, Batman. Trudeau listened to way too much Depeche Mode with that freaking hair. To all my Canadian American friends, if you like what we do on the front line, I'm asking you to give $1. Just $1. Production costs money. We do it for you. We are self-funded. And $1 goes a long way. That's less than a cup of coffee. In Canada, a cup of coffee might cost $5. So you're getting off easy. Please, just give us $1 and we'll keep the content coming your way. God bless you. And remember, stay free.